from Washington, D.C. and around the world, this is Government Matters with Mimi Geerges.
This is Government Matters, the show that delivers insights on federal government programs, people, and operations. I'm Mimi Geerges. Norway has been described as NATO's eyes and ears in the Arctic. The chief of Norway's Army, Major General Lars Lervik, sat down with us at the AUSA annual conference on October 11th. General, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and thank you much for having me.
You know, you've been cooperating with the American military for decades. You say the goal is integration. What does that mean? What would it look like?
Looking back at our past, I at least usually say that we did a lot of freezing and being miserable together in the same area or on the same exercise, but we did not really integrate. What we have done over the last few years is we are based on operational plans. We are planning how to solve our missions both in deterrence and defense. That is the driver for both the training we do together and the experimentation we do together. And that's when we're doing these three things together, that's integration and a higher level of cooperation, which I think is the way forward.
Norway has donated thousands of weapons, tens of millions of dollars in military aid to Ukraine. What specific impact has your aid had on Ukraine?
It has been, compared to the US, it has had a small but I think important impact on the battlefield. And we know that from the gunners that we are using our old guns, which we have trained, and they are giving us feedback, if not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, of the impact they're literally having on the Russian armed forces.
Has that aid that you've given to Ukraine had a negative impact on your Army's, not just capabilities, but your stocks?
Some of our stocks are being influenced by this. That's not a secret. But we are trying to manage a sufficient level, having a minimum level, while at the same time doing our utmost to support the Ukrainians in their fight.
You're a NATO country and you do share a, albeit small, border with Russia. Have you strengthened the defense of that area? What have you been doing to protect Norway from that?
Right. We have been working, at least since 2014, on a strengthening of the Norwegian armed forces, including buying F-35s, P-8s, new submarines. We are investing in a number of systems in the Army. So that has been going on for a while, but then in a moderate pace, I would like to say. What we have done this year is increasing the readiness at the border. We are keeping a close eye on what's happening on the eastern side, and also, of course, made some adjustments to our own readiness. But overall, the situation in our area is calm because most of the land forces are actually deployed to the Ukraine. So in many ways, it's calmer, isolated in our area than it used to be.
Will you be increasing your defense spending as a percentage of your total budget?
Yes, we have, just for the next year, we are talking about a 15% increase, a 10% increase. Quite a lot of that will actually be absorbed by the increase of cost, but it is an increase, yes.
What effect would Sweden and Finland's expected joining of NATO have on Norway?
I think it will have a positive effect on the whole of NATO, because we can now actually do the integration, which I briefly mentioned, by integrating our plans. And for Norway, of course, it's our two closest neighbors. And we are now members of the same alliance. Things will be lots easier, I think.
In late September, there were explosions at the Nord Stream pipelines. It's believed to be sabotage. How is the Norwegian Army responding to that?
The Norwegian Armed Forces have responded with a wide variety of actions. Of course, in increasing our intelligence services, monitoring these kind of threats, cybersecurity, land forces, especially from the Home Guard, securing the land-based installations, and the Air Force and the Navy maintaining a presence in our oil and gas fields.
Secretary of Defense Austin called Norway, quote, NATO's eyes and ears in the Arctic. What's your perspective on Norway's role in the Arctic?
I think we live in the Arctic, which means it's I think we understand it. And in regards to military, we have been present there all the time. meaning also for the Russians, they are used to meeting Norwegian soldiers on the border or ships or aircraft in the Barents Sea. So I think that's why we have a fairly stabilizing relationship in the Arctic as of now.
And of course, when you talk about the Arctic, you have to talk about climate change. And Russia has increased its presence in the Arctic. What's your biggest concern for that area?
I think the biggest military concern is the fact that very close to the Norwegian border, that is still the hub of the Russian strategic submarines and their second strike capabilities. So that is still the major concern for Norway, but I think for NATO and the US as well. On a larger scale, I think that the whole climate change is accelerating, and you can see that changes are threefold up in the northern parts of Norway, and how that will play out in the future, well, that is something that concerns me as much as an officer, as a citizen, to be honest.
What are your objectives in coming to Washington for this trip, not only with your counterparts in the U.S. military, but with American defense contractors as well?
Right. I'm here, first of all, it's a great opportunity to reestablish and reinforce links with both U.S. and other allied colleagues. And then I'm also looking specifically at some key areas which I'm looking to discuss with industry. It's long-range fires, it's air defense, and it's different types of viewing manned and unmanned teaming, including counter-UAS and all those things as well.
Well, General Lervik, welcome to Washington, and thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future Government Matters interviews.